What's up, boys? OKP here with y'all. Right now we are actually in Illinois. It's our last day in Illinois, and I want to go ahead and apologize to y'all. So, in Kentucky, I did kill a deer, and I told y'all I'd get y'all some videos of deer hunts and all that. Well, I went to school Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this past week, so I wasn't supposed to hunt. I was just gonna, throw it off until I got to get to come back from Illinois, and then I was going to go bow hunting again because gun season would be out. Well, on Wednesday I got out of class early enough I could make it to the woods and get the gun out. So I'm sitting there Wednesday afternoon. I'm not seeing a whole lot of nothing. I mean, I haven't seen a deer yet. Granted, I got in the woods at about, I guess it was 3:30. It gets dark about 4:40. I mean, right there is. I was only gonna be able to hunt for an hour. I actually spooked a spike off whenever I went in. I'm not one to shoot a spike. And lo and behold, if I can't hear deer running up on a ridge beside me, I'm hunting a completely different spot than what I normally hunted. The only time I ever get to hunt this spot is either the day before I go to Illinois or the day of Illinois. Like that morning we'd leave or whatever, we would stay long enough I could hunt. And that would be the times that I'd hunt it because it's right there by the house. I ain't got to drive 8 miles to the spot or anything like that. So I'm sitting there and I can hear these deer running up on top of the ridge. What my thoughts is it's the spike. He's chasing a doe, or he's caught my scent and he's running back and forth trying to figure out where I'm at. I don't really know. So I got these new rattling horns. Let's see if I can find them. The truck's kind of packed up, let me tell you. I got these new rattling horns the other day. My fiance got them for me for Christmas, and she let me have them early since I was going to Illinois, because I've been wanting a pair. And it's kind of, if you know what a black rack is, that's what they remind me of. You actually hold them like this, and you and it's supposed to be more of your sounding like a actual deer fighting, because it's got the two on each end and on both of them, and it's supposed to actually sound like the racks are actually hitting. So I did a pretty good little rattling sequence, and nothing come. Starting to get to that time where they're all about to start moving real good, and I'm actually, getting, not really getting ready, but halfway ready. I didn't have the gun up or nothing. And let me keep this in mind, it's been 2 years since I've shot my rifle. I shot it one time before season, right before, the day before season. That way I knew it was on because the fiance was going to hunt with it. But other than that, I didn't really shoot it for anything, and I hadn't shot it since, since 2 years ago. And I killed a deer with it, so I figured it was spot on, but I wasn't 100% sure. I took it coyote hunting, but didn't get to use it. I didn't see a coyote that time I went hunting with it. So I have a good feeling that these deer might come down. If it's a buck, he might come down there to try to run them off. All that. 10, 15, 20 minutes go by, and I've still not seen nothing. I grunted a couple times after the rattling sequence, and I did the doe bleat. When I did the doe bleat, I heard the running get a little bit down the hill. And there's a spot it's probably a 20-foot spot that I can see into the woods on the side of the ridge. So I didn't have my binoculars. This is how unprepared I was. I didn't have my binoculars. All I had was my rifle and the GoPro. And throw the scope up, and I'm looking down in that spot because I know that's where they're going to run through, if they're going to run through before they come in the field. Well, I see a doe go by. She's by herself, and I can still hear something running behind her. So I'm like, alright, I'm just going to keep, I don't even care if she comes out in the field. I'm going to keep watching the spot until I can see what comes in. what's coming down the hill after. Well, I'm still looking, and I look just a hair bit higher than where she was, and I catch him jumping the fence, and I'm like, alright, that's a decent deer. Well, they come on down, the doe goes across the field, he comes into the field, there's a scrape right there by the edge of the woods, and scrape is where the bucks, they'll rough up the ground, make it clean dirt, normally have a low-hanging branch near it, where they can lick on it and get all their glands on it, and they'll pee in that. And then when a doe's in heat, she'll come by and she'll pee in it, and then he'll track that scent all the way to her. Well, he didn't work up the ground, turned his back to me, went up, licked the branch. I couldn't see his rack. So I don't know how good this deer is. Well, and then all of a sudden he comes on out in the field, and he's running after this doe. There's like a cedar tree and like a dead tree in the middle of the field, and he gets behind that and stops. Well, I'm contemplating, do I shoot this deer? Do I not shoot this deer? What do I do? Well, I have the GoPro on. I don't have my phone has no service, so I can't check and see what the GoPro can see like I normally would whenever I would use my GoPro, and I had it mounted on my hat. And I'm getting down, and you can hear me in the video say, alright, I'm killing him. Well, he comes on out, running. He stops for 2 seconds, and I get on him, and he must have been facing completely away from me. I thought he was quartering away. He had to be facing pretty well away from me for the shot that I made on this deer. I pull the trigger and he drops, and I said, alright. Normally with my gun that I have a 7mm 08. It's pretty much the same as a 270, just a smaller bullet. And I've dropped 2 or 3 deer with it, so I expected it to drop him where he stood. He was about 180, between 180 and 200 yards, which is a chip shot with that rifle. Well, that doe, instead of kept going across the field, she come back towards the woods, and soon as she ran in front of him, that deer just stood up like nothing was wrong and started chasing her. So I'm shucking another shell, and I had sat the gun down, and I'm trying to get on him again going across the field, and I pulled the trigger and I missed. Well, I'm like, well, I dropped him where he stood. He's hurt. He's gonna die. Well, my buddy comes down. He's like, alright, we'll go look for him, see what we can find. And I'm like, hang on, let me replay this GoPro footage. We'll see where I hit him at and see if it was a good shot or if we need to give him a whole lot more time. Well, lo and behold, while there's no video footage of this kill, the freaking GoPro was too high up on my hat, and I was sitting in a box blind, homemade box blind. All you could see in the video was the freaking board above my head. Well, didn't find no blood whatsoever. Not where I dropped him, not where he went in the woods, not where he crossed the fence, nothing. We could still hear him chasing the doe, and it'd been 15-20 minutes after I shot. Probably closer to 30 minutes if I had to make a best estimate guess. And so we back out, we make a game plan that me and my buddy's gonna go back there in the morning, and not to look for him, because we knew if I would have hit him good, there would have been blood everywhere, we'd have been able to track all that, but to go hunt before we left to go to Illinois, because my buddy, he comes up here with me. He's actually the one who got me started coming with him up here. And we're sitting there, and I got up a little late, but we got in there good enough time. We seen this buck come across he was about 268 yards down the field. He was 268 yards down the field. He was a small buck, and I was gonna shoot him. I was just gonna shoot him. That way I was done with my season. He wouldn't let me. He said no. He said, hold out. He said, hold out, you still got, we'll hunt till 7:30 and then we'll leave. And I said, alright. And he said, that way we'll be up Illinois by 11, 12, 1 o'clock. So, I let him walk, and all of a sudden, we're sitting there, and it's been 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes since that buck's come through, and he says, don't move a muscle. And I'm down on the floor because I was getting on that deer trying to see what he was so I can know if I could kill him. And my stomach was hurting, and that was the only relief I had, was sitting in the floor. There was 3 does that had come up behind us. The same field like the way this box blind is, let me explain this real fast before I get deeper in the story. The box blind here, there's a field behind it and a field in front of it. And most of the time, the field in front of it, which is the back farthest field, is where you kill a lot of your deer. They've been seeing a lot more in this front field that you walk through this year. So, and when you see does this time of year, you're thinking rut, they're chasing, there's going to be a buck somewhere. Well, we watch these does, and then one of them pees. And that's normally a sign that they've come in heat, or they're about to come in heat. Even though they pee all year, but this time of year, the way that she squatted and all that, she was in heat or about to come in heat. Well, then he says, oh crap, buck. Little bitty 7-point. It was probably the one we seen down the field, but I ain't gonna say for sure that was what it was. But he comes out, he's chasing them does all over. I mean, they're there for a good 45 minutes to an hour chasing. By now it's like 7:15, 7:20, somewhere right in there. They come back around into the front field in front of the box blind, and they're starting to go down into the creek. Well, the creek is on this far side over here, and the bluff that big buck that I shot and didn't find come off the bluff on the opposite side. Well, earlier that morning we had heard some squirrels barking back way deep into that on that bluff. And if you hunt or if you don't, this is a good thing to keep in your mind, is squirrels will tell on everything, no matter if it's a predator, a deer, a turkey. You hear a squirrel bark, look that way, because you never know what it's going to be. But they're the tattletale of the woods. Well, we're sitting there, and I'm still on the floor because, you know, one was about to leave and my stomach was freaking killing me. All of a sudden, my buddy, he says, get ready. He's coming in the field. He's coming in the field. I don't have my binoculars. All I've got is my rifle, and I can't find him. I said, where's he at? He said, he's on the edge of the field. He said, he's behind the tree that you can't see. He said, the tree's blocking your view. He said, where I'm sitting, I can see him. He said, he's a decent deer. And he said, I want you to kill him. I said, okay. So keep in mind, I have no clue what this deer is. Not a single bit of clue whatsoever. He said he's a 7 or an 8 point, but he said he's heavy. I'm like, alright. So I'm getting ready, and my freaking scope was zoomed in all the way at 9. Well, the deer pops out to where I can see him, and I can't find him in the scope. Well, I back my head off the scope, and I'm looking around, and I find him. Well, I'm pointing the gun towards where he's at, and I'm trying to look through the scope. Then he takes off running across the field. What he was doing was he was coming down there to either run that buck off, fight that buck, or just steal the doe from him whatsoever. This deer come out in the same exact spot that the deer come out the night before that I had shot. I still never looked at his rack, didn't know what he was. I said, stop him. I'm following him running across the field. I said, stop him. I can't stop him. Stop him. And I'm getting on him. He stops him finally. He's about 60 yards, chip shot. I pull the trigger. I rake another shell. I see him kick up real good. He takes off. He said, you got him. And I'm following him across the field, and I said, you want me to put another one in him? He said, right before he goes in the woods, he said, let one fly. He said, get in front of him about a foot. I let one fly, and I missed. Well, I still have no clue. When he was running away, I kind of got a glimpse of his rack. And I look at my buddy and I said, I'm almost 100% sure that's the deer I shot last night. And he said, surely not. Because most time if you shoot a deer and you don't kill it, they never come back. They just disappear and vanish. Well, I had that thought in my mind that maybe it could be. By then I'd done deleted the GoPro footage because in that GoPro footage you couldn't see the deer at all. Well, I'm on him. He goes in the woods and disappears. And went in the same trail that he went in the night before. All that. Well, we get down there. We give him a couple minutes. Actually, we go to the truck, get the truck pulled out there, and then we go look for this deer. Well, we started our search a little bit too far up from where he actually went in. We thought he went in a little bit closer to us than what we thought. And it's 7:30. We was planning on leaving at 7:30. Well, we're walking up the fence row. I ain't finding no blood. I mean, it's killing me because I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Did I just make a bad shot on this deer, another deer? Because at this point, I still don't know if it's the deer I shot before. Well, I'm sitting there, we're walking, and all of a sudden, we just so happened to look over, and he hadn't made it 2 steps in the woods, and he was down. He had actually come up the hill just a little bit, and then like fell back down the hill. Like we didn't even, I guess whenever we walked to the truck, was when he probably fell over or something like that. I'm not going to say for sure if we just was too excited and didn't hear it fall, or if it was when we walked away he actually fell down. Drag him out in the field, that way we can get some pictures of him, which I'll link a couple of those in the video at the end. And as I'm setting him up for the pictures, you know, he's a decent deer. He's a 7-point, pretty heavy deer. He says, look at him, see if there's any nicks, any other bullet wounds, you know, anything like that. And this is why I say he had to be facing 100% away from me when I shot. I find the bullet hole where I shot him the night before. I was almost 100% sure when I caught a glimpse of his rack that he was the same deer, but I wasn't 100% until I got him on the ground and I looked at him and everything. And there's a pocket between their shoulder blade and where their vitals are and their like the rib cage and all that. And it had went in behind the shoulder and come out the front of the shoulder. I didn't touch nothing with that. That was all I hit. I just made a bad shot. I thought he was a little bit better broadside than that, and I was wrong. Well, I'm hyped. We're hyped. I'm kicking off the hunting trip the way that it should have been kicked off. Well, I'll get into Illinois in the next video, but so we got it done in Kentucky, and now we're up here in Illinois, and it's our last day here. So I'll catch y'all up in the next video on Illinois and let y'all know what all went down in Illinois. Right now, the only person that's left to hunt and is hunting right now, and that's who I'm watching, or I'm watching the front of the field and he's in the back of the field, is my dad. He had a couple shots at some decent deer so far, but I'll get into that more on the next video. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I will catch y'all on the next one.